Section 1. The Gilded Prince, a Kingdom's Hope. The air in Tudor England is thick with the scent of power, fear, incense, a world governed by the divine right of kings and the unyielding authority of the Roman Church. The crown rests heavy, God's will on earth, and the people bow to monarch and priests. Into this rigid, ordered world, a new king steps forward. 1509, Henry VIII ascends the throne. He is not the king England expected. Arthur was meant for this role. But fate has chosen Henry. The nation holds its breath. He is a figure of immense promise, a true Renaissance prince, handsome, athletic, learned. Henry's youth is a vibrant spectacle, a stark contrast to his father's grim austerity. A sun king, radiating energy and charm. Poetry, grand celebration. The young monarch composes songs, excels in the joust, engages in theological debates with scholars. Everything a kingdom could desire. Strong in body, brilliant in intellect, pious in spirit. The people look upon him with genuine love and admiration. They see in him the embodiment of a golden age, a leader for the world stage. But this early promise masks a deeper current. Confidence that borders on arrogance, piety entwined with a sense of divine importance. That conviction is the bedrock of his kingship and the source of future conflict. His power seems absolute, his future limitless. The kingdom celebrates, unaware of the storm to come. The shadow of an heir, a king's obsession. At the heart of Henry's reign lies a single gnawing anxiety, the need for a male heir. To a Tudor king, a son is not merely personal desire, it is national security. Without a clear male successor, the realm could fracture once more. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon is at first a symbol of stability. For nearly 2 decades, she rides with him, advises him, and rules as regent in wartime. But their union is haunted by tragedy, miscarriages and stillbirths. A son is born, then dies within weeks, a devastating blow to king and kingdom. Only Mary survives to adulthood, a daughter in Henry's eyes, not enough to secure the throne. Anxiety hardens into a spiritual crisis. He fixates on a passage forbidding marriage to a brother's wife, proclaiming such a union childless. This verse becomes his justification, divine proof his marriage is invalid. The king's great matter forces a confrontation with papal authority. Catherine's nephew, Charles V, binds the Pope's hands. Delay turns to defiance. What if the king himself were supreme head of the church within his realm? It offers an annulment and unprecedented power. By breaking with Rome, Henry claims the English church, its laws, its courts, its immense wealth. The Act of Supremacy, 1534, declares him supreme head of the Church of England. This is not Luther's Reformation. It is a political seizure of power. Henry remains in his mind a devout Catholic. He contests jurisdiction, not doctrine. England is torn from its ancient spiritual home, set adrift on a new course. Those who refuse the king's new title, Sir Thomas More, John Fisher, are executed for treason. A chilling message. Loyalty to the king now supersedes loyalty to the Pope. Monasteries, wealth, learning, Catholic loyalty are systematically dissolved. Their lands and treasures enrich the crown and its supporters. English society is fundamentally altered. Henry has his power, but he has unleashed forces that will echo for centuries. The fracture is complete. Catherine of Aragon's story is a tragedy. Duty, dignity, betrayal. For more than 20 years, she was the model of a perfect queen. When the great matter began, she refused to yield, or to see her daughter Mary disinherited. Isolated, humiliated, moved from castle to castle, no longer called queen. In her last years, she wrote Henry with forgiveness, urging care for Mary. She died in January 1536, still professing herself the one true queen. Anne Boleyn stood alone as queen, intelligent, stylish, ambitious. She gave birth not to the promised prince, but to a daughter, Elizabeth. After a miscarriage of a son, enemies moved, charges of adultery, incest and treason. In May 1536, she was executed by a swordsman from France, a final small mercy. The woman for whom he fractured a kingdom was discarded with chilling efficiency. 11 days later, Henry married Jane Seymour. Jane, quiet, gentle, bound to obey and serve. In October 1537, she bore a son, the future King Edward VI. Days later, Jane died of fever. Henry was genuinely heartbroken. Cromwell's alliance, Anne of Cleves. A political match turned disaster. The marriage unconsummated, annulled within 6 months. She accepted comfort and rank and outlived the king. Catherine Howard, young, enchanting, arose without a thorn. But her past and her indiscretions returned. Revelations turned adoration to fury, treason against his honour. In February 1542, Catherine was executed on the same spot as Anne. Catherine Parr, intelligent, pious, gentle. She steadied Henry, helped reunite his family, and restored his daughters to the line. In his final years, Henry VIII became a grotesque parody of the golden prince he had been. A festering jousting wound poisoned his days with pain. Trusted advisers fell in an instant. Fear replaced festivity. The composer of youth now signed death warrants with an unsteady hand. His break with Rome won sovereignty, and a kingdom divided in its soul. Dissolution shifted land and wealth on a scale unseen since the conquest. He empowered Parliament to serve his will and strengthened it for future reckonings. He died leaving a complex legacy. Father of the Royal Navy, patron of the arts, architect of a sovereign state, and a tyrant who executed wives, friends and subjects. His quest for a male heir severed England's tie to Rome and began a religious transformation. The story of Henry VIII is how one man's will, driven by power, faith and fear, can fracture a kingdom and forge a new one from broken pieces. If history fascinates you, subscribe for more real stories that shaped our world.